currently not spending it, so I guess it's more of a reactive thing. Bombers on top! Oh, that was a huge hit! I ran a Battle Aces tournament last weekend. You see, I'm naturally a very competitive person, and because of that, I've been running events and tournaments for around almost 15 years now. I used to run online Hearthstone tournaments under the Nudlar's name, a while ago, and I've been running competitive Smash Bros. And competitive fighting game tournaments, for nearly 9 or 10 years now. So, when the latest Battle Aces beta came around, and seemed to be coming to a good place competitively, I thought, why not run a tournament? So I wanted to make a little video that showed you guys all of the work that goes into hosting and running an online tournament series, and to give a bit of insight into how the event actually went overall. So, I've organised tournaments before, and there's a few things you need to sort from the start. Number 1, you need to sort an event sign-up page, get your people into the event somehow. 2, you need to know exactly when your event's happening and what slot you're going to be competing for. 3, you need to sort banners, logos, and assets to help make the tournament look good. And finally, advertisement. Now, as I mentioned before, I run fighting game tournaments here every week in the UK, and we use an online site known as StartGG. Now, it was originally called SmashGG, and of course was used to run Smash events. But it was bought up by Microsoft, became StartGG, and subsequently unbought by Microsoft actually pretty recently. But in that time, it now supports a much wider variety in games. In fact, in Stormgate, Adiko and his Tank series have run many successful weeks using StartGG, which I'd helped to admin, so I sort of knew how it worked on that side. So using it here seemed like a good start. I quickly found out, though, that no Battle Aces tournament had been run yet on StartGG. This, normally, wouldn't be a problem, but when you make an event on StartGG, you're required to select a game so that it can apply the appropriate rules and rule sets. That's logical, but it's not on there, so I had to get in contact with support directly and get the game added. Eventually, I did get it added, and I got a tournament page set up, and I decided what time the event would run for. Decided I wanted to aim for Saturday the 26th. Now, Saturday is obviously a pretty good slot for a tournament to run. It's on a lot of people's time off, so I expected it was going to be a competitive slot. But nothing was currently running on that day at all, or at least as far as I could find, so we went with it. We now had a different problem, which was trying to find an appropriate time zone to run my event in. Now, the thing you've got to consider here is that Battle Aces is currently not region locked, so anyone can play with anyone, and if I run the tournament at an appropriate time for US players, then anyone in Asia is going to be playing like either the following day or really, really early in the morning. And if I run it for Asian time, then the same happens for US. They end up playing like horrifically late at night or really, really early morning. Now, I'm European, so my bias came in, but a middle ground is setting it sort of mid-afternoon in European time. It's late at night for Asia, but it's still workable for some of them. And for the Americans, at least on East Coast, it's like 11 o'clock in the morning. It's not too bad. West Coast, it is like 7 or 8 in the morning, which is rough, but it's about the best balance I could find. So the next thing you need to sort is establishing a rule set for your game that the players are going to be competing under. Now, not many Battle Aces tournaments have run so far, and there isn't really a defined rule set. So I worked from what I knew. I copied rule sets from fighting game tournaments and from the Stormgate tournaments I'd helped assist run recently. That effectively mean we came up with 2 things for the format. 1, fighting games run double elimination, so we're going to run double elimination. And 2, running best of 3 until top 8, and then running best of 5. Looking back, I immediately made some horrific oversights. Number 1, double elimination is not common in RTS, and so people are inexperienced with the style or type of bracket. And number 2, Battle Aces is a very different RTS than all other RTSs. You see, the double elimination problem actually isn't that big of an issue. As I said, it is a bit unfamiliar, but not a horrifically unwelcome one. In fact, most tournaments run single elimination, and single elimination is fucking horrific for player experience. If you get bad seeding off the bat, you are screwed from the start. Or, if you just get random seeding and you run into the number one player round 2, then just, well, tough. A better experience in the RTS scene is using a Swiss format, and this is a format I would recommend for most people who are running RTS tournaments right off the bat. Swiss effectively plays a rule set where you play against people who have the same sort of game score as you. So first round, everyone just plays someone random, and everyone who won their set will then play another player who won their first set, and everyone who lost their first set will play someone else who lost a set. Generally what this means is the game sort of auto-seeds itself, and in the final rounds you'll end up playing someone who is around the same score as you, and you'll end up with sort of equal games. It's actually a format that is really commonly used in chess tournaments and in card game tournaments. So yeah, I'd really highly recommend that for everyone else. But I didn't feel like running Swiss, I thought it would take too long, and I wanted to have a sort of bracket on the line. Now, the issue about Battle Aces being a very different RTS to all the other ones is one that I quickly learned in the days running up to the tournament. But I'll come back to that later. As for the rule set, I wanted to present a unique tournament, especially for one early in the beta. If there ever is a time to experiment with formats, early in a game's life cycle is when you want to do it. Battle Aces is unique as an RTS because instead of going in with a pre-constructed faction, you construct a deck of units before you go into the game, and deck construction plays a huge role in the sort of uniqueness and style of the game. On ladder, and in most tournaments that had been ran so far, this in effect means basically building the most powerful deck off the start. And this sometimes means that you end up with one or two prominent strategies. At the start of the beta, this was definitely true. There was about one or maybe two very, very prominent strategies that pretty much everyone was running or using. And I thought back to that when I was trying to decide my format. I was like, how can I construct something that forces our players to think outside the box and build more unique, varied decks? This uniqueness problem was something that made me think back to my days of running Hearthstone tournaments. You see, in Hearthstone they have a format known as Conquest, and in Conquest format you are allowed to bring one deck per class, and when you win with one of those classes, you are no longer allowed to win with that deck for the rest of the series. This really helps our players bring a variety of decks to the field, and it alleviates a problem of one deck being dominant, because in theory you're only really able to run that deck once to get one win in a best of 3 or a best of 5. I also remembered that in Age of Empires they have a similar thing with civilizations as well. You can't win with the same strategy. I think it was AoE 2 where France had a particularly dominant archer rush or something like that, and it doesn't really matter in a best of 3 or a best of 5 because, well, one player wins with the French, the next player wins with the French, and it's effectively just traded a game. So I had that as my sort of basis for my idea. So here was my proposal. Players must create 3 unique unit decks before the tournament. In all decks, a unit can only be used once. And once a player wins with one of those decks, they can no longer win with that deck again for the rest of the set. Did I think it was going to be the perfect format? Absolutely not. But I did think it would make entertaining content, and it would allow us to explore a big variety of stuff at the early point of this game's life cycle. Basically, I came into this expecting that my competitors would not particularly love the format, but viewing experience would be entirely enhanced. But I decided I wanted to back that with some evidence, so I planned right at the beginning that at the end of the tournament I would take feedback from viewers and players. I did that in the form of a Google Forms survey, which I sent out to my viewers post-stream and to the players in my tournament channel. And I have the results of that, and I will show those at the end when we get through everything. So now that I have my rule set sorted, I need to figure out how players are actually going to submit their decks. Now, I know Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links tournaments have been run on StartGG, and they upload their deck lists to the website. So I know StartGG has the capability of doing it. In order to enable it though, I have to get in contact with StartGG support again and get them to enable it for me. Whilst the process is not ideal, I will give them credit. They were actually pretty quick on getting that turnaround for me. So I did eventually get it available for players to submit online. But if running a tournament has taught me anything, you need to have a backup way of players doing it. Online tools are great when they work, but the key word is when they work. So I created some extra channels in my Discord to help me run the tournament and to create decklist submissions. Absolute worst case, players can just throw it in that Discord channel and hopefully we're all solved from there. So I have my sign-up page, my rules, I added a prize pot with some money from my own pocket, and now I just need to throw together some assets. So I'm running this all on my own, so I just think, okay, I'll just slap together some assets using a logo, a mixture of my own font, and some official assets that the Battle Aces teams have shared from press releases and stuff. I threw up a trailer video, which some of you may have seen on this channel, and bang, we're live. A share on Reddit, the official Battle Aces Discord, Twitter, etc., and just kind of hope. That's all you can really do as a tournament organizer. Host, share, and hope people will come. The days of the beta tick by and various balance patches are dropped, as well as some small events being run. Pig ran a King of the Hill style tournament, and in it I noticed the first big difference that Battle Aces has to all other RTSs. Battle Aces games are fast. Like, really fast. And I don't mean in terms of moving units and gameplay and game speed, I mean like they only last like 5 to 10 minutes. For my viewers that are fighting game players or, you know, aren't particularly RTS fans, games like StarCraft and Age of Empires don't have like a defined endpoint. There isn't like a time limit. You can theoretically play until like you just both run out of resources and mine the entire maps. There have been competitive games that have lasted up to 2 hours. It's not common. Most games are over within 15 to 20 minutes, but there isn't like that hard limit. Battle Aces has a time limit. It's a game lasts 10 minutes long, and in the last minute of the game there's literally a sudden death mode. So games on average only last like 5 to 7 minutes. From a tournament perspective, this actually is really ideal. It means you don't have to worry about rounds overrunning. Normally we keep it to best of 3 in Smash or in other fighting games when we're a bit restricted on time. And in this case, for Battle Aces, I don't have to worry about that so much. Funnily enough, actually, Pig actually commented something on this. Pig said this.
So I was going to play Printf next. We're just going to keep grabbing different players, guys. These matches are pretty quick, of course. Best of 3s are not really the serious competitive format for this game. You'd want to be doing best of 7s, best of 9s, that sort of stuff. But yeah, we're trying to do it.
Well, shit. My best of 3 now looks kinda shit. So I quickly switch it to best of 5. My rule set does have an issue though. You see, if I want to run a best of 7, one deck either has to be repeated, or I get all my players to make another deck. A 4th deck is a relatively easy solution, but if I'm limiting units to a 1-by-1 basis, I mean even after 2 decks, that's 16 units in a game, which I think currently only has like 40 units. That's like well over half of the units gone. On top of that, Battle Aces actually currently only lets you save 3 deck slots, and that is kind of incredibly annoying if I'm asking players to manually create a 4th slot every single time. So, I mean, it's still a problem, and there's not really a problem that I can fix here, but it was a problem that we faced with this format. A couple of days before the event, the team at Battle Aces gets in contact with me, and they want to help me promote the event and provide some extra prizing. This is super cool of them. Of course I'm ecstatic, and the additional support is always greatly appreciated. But this does also mean that I now have extra eyes on me and my event. I'm no longer just some random organizer, I'm an organizer directly supported by the developers of the game. Now, for some people that might not sound that weird. Developers do frequently support their games, especially competitively. But I'm a Smash player. That's really not common in the Smash space. Anyway, a seed I'd accidentally planted a while ago bloomed. You see, Battle Aces has a channel in their Discord for content creators, and in this channel, I think back in March, one of the devs had asked if there was anything they could do to help set us up for success in the future as content creators. Months ago, I had responded by saying that overlays and tournament assets would be incredibly useful, and as it turns out, they'd made them. So I get a bunch of new assets, which is really great and really cool, and I link it up in OBS to a tool that we use in the Smash scene called Stream Helper. Stream Helper is a fantastic open source tool that just allows you to import brackets from Challenge and StartGG and then pull in information from those sites, including player tags, player names, locations, flags, or even characters. It's incredibly useful for running a tournament. Game day rolls around and StartGG is actually handling most of the work for me. Players are checking in automatically, and I can decide what to do with the people who don't DQ pretty quickly. In theory, all I should need to do from this point onwards is stream the event and commentate. Hopefully, everything is just ran by StartGG. I boot up stream and get stuff started, and we're off. And now we run into our first issue of the day. Nothing ever goes to plan, and as an organizer you should try to be prepared for everything. Because Battle Aces is a new game that has been added to StartGG, the tournament rules it has automatically applied for running an online tournament are set to default. This means that in order for players to submit their scores, they must first select characters. Now this hasn't been a problem in other RTSs like StarCraft, Age of Empires, and Stormgate, because there are just factions, you can just fill those in instead. But Battle Aces uses decks, so no player can submit scores, like at all. This means for the entire rest of the tournament, I need to manually put in every scores, whilst also observing and casting the rest of the tournament. Now, you might ask a very important question. Ollie, why were you the only admin? And I say to you, that's a really fucking good question. I have no idea why I decided to do this solo. It was such a stupid idea. Basically, I didn't have any friends that were available on the day who already knew how to use StartGG. I probably could have recruited one of the players to help just fill in scores, but it actually wasn't that bad. But definitely a point to improve on next time I run an event like this. Now, the tournament continues on, and the event actually goes pretty successfully. We peak at around 70 viewers, we had the official Battle Aces channel in our chat at some point, we had another streamer casting the games, so he was casting the other set of games, who asked permission before streaming it, and I even told them, hey, I am okay with you streaming it, but I want to cast the top 3 on my own channel if that's okay, and they actually raided me at that point. I know I shouldn't be surprised that someone stuck to their word when I asked them to, but hey, people sometimes suck. So thank you, Conqueror, and if you want to check out some of the games, they casted quite a few of them over there on their channel too. I did fuck up stuff during the day occasionally. I didn't turn to the right screen at least twice, and my knowledge was a bit lacking, but overall, the event went reasonably well. So let's talk about the feedback from the event. I did ask all of my players and viewers for feedback, and I asked them for 2 things, basically. A rating of the quality of the broadcast on a scale of 1 to 5, as well as an option for them to leave any comments, and a rating of what they thought the format was like in the rule set, again, out of 1 to 5, as well as a little comment section. I was curious going in as to how players in particular would find the format. As I mentioned before, my prediction was that viewers would enjoy it, but players might struggle with it. Before we go into the format, I'll talk quickly just on my feedback as a streamer for the day. Generally speaking, people said that I brought good energy to the game, but that I lacked knowledge. And that is hardly surprising. This is only my second beta for Battle Aces, and I didn't actually play like a whole lot during the first beta. So game knowledge was hardly surprising that I was lacking. And knowledge is something that you can definitely more easily work on. So quite happy with that. But what about the format? I will start by saying that I actually had a very small response pool. I only had 8 submissions back from viewers and players, so of course these results should be taken with a pinch of salt. Generally speaking though, viewers rated the format highly, everyone scoring between 4 and 5 on the scale. Except for one person who absolutely fucking hated the format. Jokes aside, one person did leave a comment. They did say they found the format a bit too restrictive, but didn't really elaborate any more on that. But, you know, fair enough. As for player responses, well, I actually got even fewer. I only got 2, but we can still take some from these results. But even from it, the small amount of results that we received actually matched up with what I expected. Both respondents rated it as a scale of 1 to 5, they rated it as a 3 and a 4. I think this statement in particular, made by one of the players, actually summarises what I feel about the format very well. The format is a good solution to the game being decided by both players making a deck blind, and then one player happening to have the better deck. Although, having to make 3 decks that covers enough things to be viable with no reused units is probably too much of a restriction given the current amount of units in the game. This is increased by the fact that some architects like Anti-Big have very few viable options. Now, effectively, I agree. Having no reuse was an interesting idea, one that is simple and easy to understand. But even after just 2 decks with 16 viable units removed from your deck, your third deck was quite often gonna be weaker. I do think having a restricted format where a unit is only allowed to be used maybe once or maybe twice per deck or something like that might be better, but a solidified solution is difficult to create. And so I hand it over to you guys, the Battle Aces community. Do you have any thoughts on what format would be good and what you would like to see? My feelings after the tournament are effectively that I think maybe core units shouldn't be allowed to be duplicated, and that maybe the Foundry or something like that, maybe, I don't know, I'm not sure about the rest of the pools, but I definitely think core units should not be reused per deck. And so, there you have it. That's everything that goes into putting on and running a tournament from start all the way to finish. Overall, I think it went pretty decently well, and although the event was really stressful on the day, it was also really exciting and really great fun. And I definitely think I'm gonna run more again. Obviously, the Battle Aces beta is now over, so whenever Battle Aces comes back, I will definitely continue running it. I know that Zero Space has just got a demo that's come out, so might end up running something for that if I get the chance and time to do so. I will be uploading a couple of the tournament sets that happened in the tournament on this channel over the next couple of days, so stick around if you want to see some of the great games that we had over that course of the tournament. But otherwise, yeah, I'm pretty much, that's everything from me. Oh, one quick thing. If you are a content creator yourself, if you want to use any of the footage from the stream this past weekend, you are absolutely free to do so. Please just give my channel some credit in the description, both Twitch and my YouTube. Just some credit would be appreciated. That's really all I wanted to say. I hope you've all enjoyed this, and I hope you all keep up to date with the RTS stuff that's going on. My name has been Bandanity, and I will catch you all next time. Bye. Oh, finger guns are cringe. Man, why did I do finger guns?